Welcome back to my channel, Math and Language, and we're going to discuss how to find the domain of any function. So let's start. What is a domain? Domain is the set of inputs of a function that give a real number output. It's like this set of the value of x that you can put in the function that will still give you a real number or the value of y. So two things to watch out for. We have square roots and denominators. For square roots, if you have a function like this one, the inside must be positive, always must be positive, because if it's not positive, the answer in this one is not positive or negative, it will have an imaginary number, and we don't want to have an imaginary number. Next one is denominators. The denominator cannot equal to 0 because any number, for example 2, and you divide it by 0, you will get an answer of undefined, and we don't want it to happen. Now, let's start with the first one, polynomial. So if you have a polynomial like this one, it's not a square root and not a radical sign or not a denominator, the domain will always be negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, let's go on. How about we have square roots? Example number 1, the function of x is equal to the square root of x plus 2. So the first thing you do to find the domain is get x plus 2. And the sign here is greater than or equal to 0. So your answer should be 0 or more than 0. So algebraically, you will get x is greater than or equal to negative 2. And the domain will be the box bracket of negative 2, comma, and infinity parentheses. Moving on. So for the number line, the box bracket here means that negative 2 is also included as a domain. So you put a circle here, and if it's included or it's as a box bracket or square bracket, you have to shade it. And it goes to infinity, positive infinity. So this is your number line for this function. Now, what if we have the function of x is equal to the square root of the x squared plus 2x minus 15? So how are you going to do this? So we have x squared plus 2x minus 15 greater than or equal to 0, like that. Now, you have to factor this one to find the value of x. So x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 5. Now, how are we going to find the domain for this one? You have to construct a value of tables. Now, let's have a test number first. Let's have 4. So that's greater than 3. So x minus 3. If I put a 4 here, 4 minus 3, that will be 1. So that is positive. If I put a 4 here, that will be 4 plus 5, that is 9. Positive also. If you multiply the positive and positive, that will be positive. What if we have 2? Let's have test this one. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And 2 plus 5, that will be 7. So positive 7 and negative 1. Negative times positive, that will be negative. And if you have negative 1 here, negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 1 minus 3, yes, negative 4. And negative 1 plus 5, that will be positive 4. You have negative and positive, that will be negative. Now, last one, if you have negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9. And negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So negative times negative, that will be positive. You have to watch out for this negative. We don't want to have negative here. So here's our number line. And we're going to look at the positive first. So 4 is here, 3 to, in between 3 and positive infinity, so this is plus. And 2, that's between 0 and 3, that's negative. Negative 1, that's between negative 5 and 0, that's negative here. And negative 6 is between negative infinity and negative 5, so that's positive. We only want the positive um, values. So let's check. Okay, this one. And our domain is parentheses negative infinity, comma negative 5, bracket means 5, the value of negative 5 is also good. So union parentheses close bracket, sorry, I mean box bracket 3, comma infinity. So for this one, if it's negative 5 is also included, so circle that one and shade it. Shade that one. Negative infinity. So to negative infinity. Only the positive ones. We will ignore this one. And now 3 is also included. So circle that one and shade it and go to positive infinity. So that's a number line in this function. So again, the function of x is equal to the square root of x squared plus 2x minus 15. The domain will be like this. So we have a parentheses, negative infinity, comma, negative 5, close, box bracket. The union means it's also included box bracket 3, comma, infinity, and parentheses. Next one, what if we have this one? Function of x is equal to the square root of the quantity x squared plus 2. So just get the x squared plus 2 and we set the sign to greater than or equal to 0. X squared is to greater than or equal to negative 2. Remember, if we have like this, you cannot have any value of x that will equal to negative 2. So any value of x is okay to put in the domain. So the domain will be negative infinity, comma, infinity. All right, so let's go to the next one, denominators. So for denominators, example number 1, you have the function of x is equal to x plus 2 for the numerator, and for the denominator is x minus 1. So we can just ignore the numerator here and just focus on the denominator. So get x minus 1. You set it and not equal to 0. So the answer to this one should not equal to 0, and x should not be equal to 1. Now for the domain, that will be parentheses, negative infinity to positive 1, union 1, and comma infinity. So all values of x is all values of x are possible except for 1 for this kind of function. So in a number line, so put a circle in 1, don't shade it, and extend it to negative infinity and extend it to positive infinity. X1 example number 2. Function of x is equal to the numerator is x plus 1 and denominator is x squared plus 2x minus 15. So you don't have to shouldn't equal to 0, but we need to find the value of x, so factor those ones, and x should not be equal to 3 and x should not be equal to negative 5. Now, so our domain will be parentheses negative infinity up to negative 5, union negative 5 up to 3, positive 3, union 3 to infinity. So any values of x as long as it is not positive 3 and negative 5. So circle those numbers. Circle those and okay, negative infinity to negative 5. Yes, don't shade it. And we have negative 5 to 3. Don't shade it also. And then 3 to infinity. Yes, just like this one. Okay, next one. So that is the answer. Square it on bottom. We have the function of x is equal to the fraction part x plus 1, and the denominator is the square root of x minus 2. So we'll just focus on the denominator, and that will be just what's inside the square root also. If you have a square root on bottom and denominator, your sign will be greater than 0. So x minus 2 is greater than 0, so the answer should not be equal to 0, should be greater than 0. So x is greater than 2. So the domain will be parentheses 2, comma, infinity, and parentheses. So 2 is not included. So the answer should be more than 2. So in the number line, circle 2, don't shade it, and extend it to infinity. That's all. How about we have square root on top? Okay, square root on top, and you also have a denominator. You have to compare these two. So let's start with the square root of x minus 2 first. Get x minus 2, it's greater than or equal to 0. Now, x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay. And after that one, your domain, since it's greater than or equal to 2, means that 2 is also included in the domain. So we will use a box bracket. So that will be box bracket 2, comma, infinity, parentheses. Now, what if we have x squared minus 9? It should not be equal to 0. So you can transfer the 9 at to the right side. X squared is not equal to 9. And you will have two answers, positive and negative 3. Or domain will be like this, as long as it is not equal to 3. Parentheses, negative infinity to negative 3, parentheses, union, parentheses, negative 3, comma, 3, and union, 3, comma, positive infinity. So we have many domains here. So let's just eliminate those others. So the first one is we have 2. The domain should be 2, and the first one is positive 2 included. So positive 2 included to infinity. And any number below 2 is not acceptable. So we could ignore this one. Negative 3 to 3. We could ignore the negative values up to 0. So we're not going to write anything here. So ignore. And the next one, it will be 3 to infinity. So extend that one. Get the Because we need to find the intersection. So this is your number line. So the final answer for the domain is 2. Again, I'll shade it again. 2 to 2 to positive 3. Don't shade number 3 and extend it. And okay, box bracket 2, comma 3, parentheses, union, parentheses 3, comma infinity, parentheses. Okay, last one. What if we have both square roots? So we have a square root in the numerator and we have a square root in the denominator. So let's compare these two. We have x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. X is greater than or equal to 2. And the domain will be box bracket 2, comma, infinity, parentheses. And for x plus 3 is greater than 0. X should be greater than negative 3. So the domain will be in the parentheses negative 3 up to positive infinity. So we have two domains, and the final answer will be box bracket 2, comma, infinity, parentheses. We're going to ignore the values that is less than positive 2. So for this one, negative 3, positive 3, all the negative values 0 and 1 will be ignored. So let's start with 2, shade that part because it's included, and extend it to the infinity. That's all. So we have the summary here. So if you're confused which sign are you going to use, so I've already tabulated them. So square root only, for example, square root of the quantity x plus 2. The numerator should be the greater than or equal to 0. And because there's no denominator, so it's not applicable. For denominators, ignore the numerator. We're just focus on the denominator. So x minus 1, like this one. The denominator should not be equal to 0. And square root on bottom. So we have a square root on bottom. We just ignore the numerator part. And for square root on bottom, the sign should be greater than 0. If we have a square root on top, so that the numerator part will be greater than or equal to 0. And the denominator should not equal to 0. But what if we have both square roots? So for both square roots, you have to, for the numerator, it should be greater than or equal to 0. And for the denominator, It should be greater than 0. And that's the end of the lesson on how to find the domain of any function. If you would like to comment or suggest another math and language video, and if you need help with your assignment or module, I'll be glad to help you as long as it's connected to the topic or related to the topic. Again, this is James, your math and language instructor. Please like and subscribe and also click the bell notification so you will be updated on my future videos of math and language. And I would really appreciate if you could also like my FB page or Facebook page. I'll post the link in the description box below. Thank you and goodbye.